Good evening. Nothing complicated this evening, just this one package and another thing that arrived. So let's do this real quick then. So before we look at that one, we got Kill Me Baby, the complete collection Sentai. This one actually has a dub, so it's a DVD with a dub. Which I can't help but think that there was something else Sentai had done recently where they hadn't done a Blu-ray release, but they had dubbed it. But whatever. I've been kind of interested in this one, mostly because the ending strikes me as a particularly trollish one. Kind of fun. Without that, I guess the tune wouldn't completely interest me. Then this other thing is the Jungle Book Adventures of Mowgli, which is probably dub only. I'm wondering, it contains all 52 episodes, which is definitely a good thing. So it's a Shout Factory release. It doesn't really say on there, but this is based on it's made from a Japanese series if it's dubbed and edited. So it's one of those kind of things where it's kind of a stealth anime release, not released by one of the standard companies. Not that Shout Factory hasn't released things like this before, but So let's see, 52 episodes on 6 discs. Comes to like 7 or 8 episodes a disc, which I guess is on par for Funimation releases, which means it could be Japanese with English subtitles, but I thought it was dubbed only. Guess I'll have to figure that out off camera or after the video or whatever. So the only other thing that arrived is not a DVD, but it is a Project Touhou 13.5, another fighting anime, and this one has Koichi Komeji in it, which is intriguing. No idea if I'm pronouncing her name right. Since we're kind of short on other things to look at, it seems there's a little thickness to this. I'm not quite sure how useful this is, other than that it does tell us the characters in it. I should probably familiarize myself with some of the Touhou 13 characters. So it looks like there's a handful of them in here. And then Nitori and Koichi. Okay. And there you go. That's why I double checked, because I did not get this completely in there. There we go. I haven't checked to see if there's an English patch yet. I haven't tried to install it. Whatever. But I made sure to acquire it since it came out pretty recently, like I mentioned. So that's this week's pretty paltry update. Naturally, if I had been keeping track of my updates, I probably would have noticed that today's was going to be a bit small, and I would have padded it quite a bit. But I didn't, because, well, this is next week. Today's the 18th, so next week would be the 25th. I guess it's kind of close. I guess it's any time now that Gurren Lagann Blu-ray set is supposed to come out. And I have the money set aside for that and then some. So I guess I'm on target. Yay. So let's see. Watch. I think last week I mentioned that I had watched a bit of Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, if not... Yeah, I think I said I was about halfway through it, wasn't I? If not, then I was halfway through at some stopping point last week. But I finished watching all of it in the OVA, and it was a pretty entertaining series. I mean, something's off, but I think for a lot of anime that are said to be about a relationship, that's kind of a standard, so it's really usually something feels perfect. I know, like for Toradora, something about the way that anime set up the relationship that it's about just really worked out, that in a way I don't remember a lot of stuff working. And while this one wasn't bad, it does feel like there's something off about it. it's kind of similar in that regard to Mysterious Girlfriend X, but Mysterious Girlfriend X, which I did, that was the other thing I watched, the other anime I watched. And I guess mentioning both of them, the immediate thought I had is that there's nothing about the main character that really strikes out to me as standing out, even within the context of the universe, other than the fact that they decided to say, yeah, he's standing out. I think that's a pretty stereotypical attempt to make the main character somebody that male audiences watching it could kind of sympathize or empathize with or something, and or project into to a certain degree. Maybe that's why Toradora didn't feel so off, because he felt like an interesting character, even if he was a bit of a strange character. Whereas these characters, they exist to experience the things that are kind of going on with them, I guess, around them. Of course, that may be an inaccurate interpretation, because I'm still watching these things from the point of view of, this is not the kind of relationship I would want to be in. They kind of strike me as very... Well, Mysterious Girlfriend X in particular struck me as a kind of relationship anime about a not so healthy relationship, I guess, where it's kind of a fantasy relationship, but it's... I'm not quite sure how to put it, because I don't know. And whatever it is I'm trying to think of, Dusk Maiden of Amnesia, I don't think felt as bad in that regard. But, you know, nothing's perfect other than the things that are perfect. But the majority of anime aren't perfect. Plenty enjoyable still. And for these, they were enjoyable. There were things about them that were quite fun and enjoyable. The first episode of Dusk Maiden of Amnesia in particular was a pretty fun one. And I think I probably mentioned that last week. It's hard to say that where Dusk Maiden of Amnesia went from there necessarily either surprised me or came off as thought-provoking to me. So for somebody that's seen a lot of stuff, it's not new in those regards. It is interesting the way the relationship between the characters are kind of set up as that, in that way, being kind of different. It played around with some mechanisms I've not seen played around with a whole lot. So overall, Dusk Maiden of Amnesia was a pretty fun thing, a pretty fun anime, entertaining in that regard. And for Mysterious Girlfriend X, so somebody had said that, yeah, the drool, getting used to, and it turns out that, yeah, as I was kind of afraid, the drool is kind of this fetish that the anime plays with a lot, and partially because it's not my kind of fetish, and partially because I wasn't expecting it. It did make me gag a little bit the first time it came up, but that's kind of fun. And other than that, it seemed like okay anime. I guess if I were to complain, this Mysterious Girlfriend concept that the Mysterious Girlfriend X anime plays with seems to be kind of similar to this real life girls are mysterious sort of concept, where a lot of the mystery kind of more comes from not from girls just being some inherently unsolvable puzzle, but rather from us excusing either bad behavior or bad thought processes, I guess. And I say bad from the point of view that, again, these are things where people are not really trying to be straightforward or introspective and whatnot, and I wouldn't want to be in a relationship with somebody who lacks those things. And again, she's not completely bad, Mysterious Girlfriend X, but it kind of plays off where it's like, Oh, well, you're interested in this? Well, here, have some drool instead. And that doesn't strike me as a very healthy relationship. That's probably what I was trying to think of before, is unhealthy relationship thing. But not the thing that I wasn't quite hitting on. It's sort of like, I don't know. It's crazy. It's always crazy, and so I try not to think about that stuff too much. Try to enjoy the anime for what it does. And Mysterious Girlfriend X, it's I guess unexpected things more so than Dusk Maiden of Amnesia did. But eh, yeah, definitely more than Dusk Maiden of Amnesia. But I wouldn't say it was necessarily done in a way that I would say it's definitely better than the former. So, there's a lot of room for people's personal interpretations. But I thought they were both pretty entertaining anime. Good things to do while playing Monster Hunter at the same time. In this case, since I'm trying to watch and play, doing non-busy things in Monster Hunter, just basically farming stuff. And it's usually not been anime I'm watching because I want to give anime more attention. And so if I'm going to be doing a bigger monster thing, I'm going to watch something else. In this case, I've been rewatching a lot of Futurama. And, there's definitely this feeling where seasons 1 through 4 are good, classic, solid Futurama for some reason. Season 5, which would be the 4 movies, is strange, a little off, or maybe a lot of off, but not exactly bad per se. And then season 6 and 7 feels like it kind of goes somewhere between the two, but it's a bit worse off. And I don't think it's any one thing, but I can at least kind of gather there's a couple of feelings that come to mind. One of those, of course, is that season 6, and I don't remember any of season 7 that I've watched, so now that I'm back at season 7 and I've watched the first one episode, I'll probably think more about that when I go along, but it seems like Futurama got a little bit more mean-spirited. And so it kind of changes the way it feels. Additionally, it kind of felt like the universe in the first 4 seasons of Futurama didn't take itself so seriously. I think this is an artifact of coming after the 4 movies in which they tried to make big things happen. But I can't help but feel like after the 5th season, maybe the series takes its universe a little too seriously. Then again, there are interesting inconsistencies, such as in the 4th season, the Star Trek episode where it's revealed that Star Trek is a bad word. But then, like in, I think, season 2, a Cyclops of my own, I think it was, they go onto the internet and they walk by a chat room in which people are discussing Kirk versus Picard, which is, the stereotypical conversation here. So, I don't know. It's not like Futurama's always been consistent per se. And I'm not entirely sure how accurate these ideas are. Oh yeah, the other things. Season 6 also seemed to politicize things a whole lot more, which was kind of present a bit in the movies. So, I don't know. It's okay, I guess. It sounds like season 7 is Futurama canceled again, and I guess that's okay. It had some good episodes, and even season 6 and 7 has some interesting ideas it explores, even if sometimes it seems like it introduces a second concept that makes me indifferent. Oh well. So, now I think about it, there was another thing I wanted to mention, how it was interesting watching Mysterious Girlfriend X now, when the movie was Secretary, which they're both kind of about these abnormal relationships people form, I guess. Kind of amusing. And the abnormalities are based on fetishes, of course. Intriguing. Oh well, so let's see. I'm trying to think if there's anything else worth mentioning. Nothing comes to mind. I know that I pre-ordered all of next month's DVDs and Blu-ray releases that I'm going to pick up, all the new ones. If I'm going to do any padding, we'll evaluate it as we go. There's a drive on the Enemy Media server that needs replacing, and some dental work that needs to happen, and the car doesn't need to be repaired or fixed or maintained or anything, but it would probably be a good idea to do it for a couple of cheap things. But all these little things kind of add up, so we'll have to see what happens next month. That one gets played by ear, as usual. And then there's also the problem where there's a lot of unknowns in there that it's usually, if I have a release in which I can get everything through Amazon, then I can have a pretty good idea of what titles are going to come out and how much is going to be spent per week. And it gets kind of weird because there's a lot of Aniplex of America titles coming out. So of course, like this month we have the Gurren Lagann thing, which is obviously throwing a wrench in the works. Next month I guess it's the first two Madoka movies, and probably something else. I'm trying to remember, but I can't too well because I pre-ordered all of the currently listed Aniplex of America upcoming releases and the upcoming NIS of America releases so that I wouldn't have to deal with tracking them all the time, I guess. I'll let Fried Stuff take care of that. So that was 4 NIS releases and then a bunch of separate releases for different Sword Art Online and Blue Exorcist. So it might be the first part of Blue Exorcist coming out next month, or it might not be. It's so hard to remember. And then there was some other weird title that was listed. I don't know. We'll have to see what next month is like. Very strange stuff. Very fun pre-ordering all that stuff. And then there's also an order from Japan that will be coming. I decided to order those Unico Blu-rays because Unico and the Island of Magic is one of my favorites, and I'll be okay with owning duplicates of that. And if they never come out here in the US for some reason, then I guess I'll be okay, because I'll be set. Fun stuff. So yeah, I guess I can't think of any of the anime titles I pre-ordered or anything like that other than all the NIS and Aniplex of America stuff, so that takes care of everything. Y'all have a nice week, and with any luck, if the Gurren Lagann set does have a release date by next Tuesday, then it will be showing up before then, and then we will get to look at it next week. Otherwise, maybe the week after, hopefully. So yeah, y'all have a nice week.